Hey everybody, welcome back to our channel. This is Candice and Phil, and we are going to talk about another ReZero episode. It's episode 35, and it's titled, I Know Hell.
Thank you for that, Candice. Yeah, this is another good episode. It's like an informative one. Not too much action happens other than right at the beginning. So it starts off with them finishing the confrontation with Satella, and it's Garfield and Subaru confronting her, and then it moves on. Well, quick summary of everything. They confront Satella, and then they're trying to figure out some more secrets of the sanctuary with Ryuzu, and at the end it's Subaru confronting Garfield before making his way to the mansion to try to prevent that incident that's going to happen there in 4 days that he said. Okay, but this was a good episode, and it got us really excited for...
It's one of the best episodes.
It's got us excited for episode 36, because that's what I've really been looking forward to with Beatrice. Just getting more information with her, and then figuring out what this contract is that she has. But anyway, it starts off with Subaru and Garfield confronting Satella again. They're on their way, and then she's tracking Subaru because she's attracted to his energy or whatever it is. His scent. But he's using Garfield uses the Ryuzu there's like a whole bunch of them in the forest that he finds out are just clones, and he's gonna use them to just like bombard their way through Satella. And she comes up to them, and they're trying to fight them, and the Ryuzu are just getting exploded and detonating. And Garfield, even in his beast form, is just completely overpowered by Satella. Like her, the darkness is like holding him, and he's not able to move. Mm-hmm. And then he ends up being just completely like disintegrated to pieces by her. And all she keeps saying is, I love you, I love you. And then towards the end, she's saying, love me to Subaru. And she swallows him up. And then what'd you think about all that part where he just swallows him up and he's like experiencing all this?
I feel like that's probably how Betelgeuse was born, quote unquote born. Because you know how the fingers of Betelgeuse at that time, he just kept mentioning about love and, I. Mm. And he's just talking about love and how...
I think he wants the witch's love, right? That's what he's wanting.
Yeah, but I mean, it's kind of similar in a way too. Because when we saw, I don't know if you noticed, but Subaru started to go kind of crazy too, like how Betelgeuse was acting.
Yeah. And
so I was like, well, is she trying to make him like an official, I don't know, like her slave or something? Mm-hmm. Like how Betelgeuse...
Like an archbishop?
Yeah, or something like that. So I don't know, like... I just know that he just started going crazy.
Yeah, he was getting like this sensory overload too, and then we learned later that he was experiencing all the memories of everyone that was swallowed up by the shadow, he was saying. And he's able to break out of this just only because of Echidna, her preemptive thinking with the handkerchief, and how he can use it, and he used it to stab himself and kill himself and get himself out of that restart to his checkpoint. So he was able to save himself thanks to Echidna. So you can tell she was looking ahead, and it seemed like she kind of predicted what was going to happen with Satella. I guess because of their interaction that they were having at the witch's tea party. And then I did also notice too, did you notice that when he said that, because you know how she was saying I love you, and then he was like, I could probably love Echidna more than you, or easier than you. Yeah. And then she got upset. Did you notice that?
And the other witches.
Yeah, the other witches too.
Yeah, we already talked about this before. We said that it just seems like the other witches are all against, not Echidna, Envy, Satella. Mm-hmm. It's just kind of how it is, and so, and I feel like it's the same way for Satella. She's against the other witches as well.
Yeah, but I think she's just more like selfish too. She just wants what she wants.
Yeah.
For her own benefit, just like envy, whatever.
Yeah.
But
that too.
The other thing I was gonna ask you too is when he was about to die, he pulled off the cloak around Satella, And it looks very similar to Amelia's face.
That's what.
And then.
That's what. That's what
like
everybody been saying.
The bangs are like a little thicker. I think that's the only thing I noticed.
The hair clip is different too. Yeah. She has more of that cross, and it's on her right side. Amelia's thing is on the left, and it has the kind of like an X or butterfly looking hair clip. But with Satella, it looks like a cross to me.
Well, and then the last words he said were, "I'll save you." So how did you interpret that? Because he wiped away the tears of her.
So I'm thinking of one of two things. First one would be he's just thinking of Emilia. Maybe at that time, he's referring to Emilia, even though obviously it's Satella that's in front of him. And the other one that I'm thinking is that maybe he realized that Satella is suffering too, and then he wants to save Satella. But then, though his words were too strong for it to be referring to Satella, it's like, where did it come from? Like, all this time he's been hating Satella, and then out of nowhere he says, "I'll definitely save you."
Yeah.
It suits more to Emilia more than Satella, so I'm gearing more to Emilia.
Yeah.
So maybe just because Satella looks like Emilia, in his head he's just... I mean, he saw the tears, and so he probably thought of Emilia.
I think that's the one that makes more sense. The most sense to me. Because that's what I thought too. That's what I thought. He's just imagining Emilia.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah, just picturing her. What? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, but so he's able to get out of that situation with the handkerchief, and then we're back into his restart, and it's back to where Emilia's waking up too. And I thought that was really sweet that even though she had just gone through the trial herself, she saw that Subaru was in pain, and she went to comfort him. Why? She's rolling her eyes, everybody.
Yeah, no. No.
And then, well, that's what I mean, it just shows you that she thought about him over herself, because even though she had just went through that too, she thought of them. So it ends up being one of like the best restarts, how he described it. So everyone's neutral still, everyone's on his side. Emilia is still motivated to try the trial again the next day, and he ends up having a conversation with Rem, about just keeping Garfield away while he goes to check something out. And then we learn that through the memories of when he was with Satella, he got the Ryuzu's memories. So she's able to find out where that the grave, I don't know what it was. It was like the little building. I don't know if that's where he was getting kept when he was...
Like a little hideout?
Yeah, the little hideout. I don't know. Do you think that's where he was getting kept when he was like locked up by Garfield?
Maybe. Yeah, possibly.
Either way, that's where there's like this hidden place, and he's able to put the little blue stone that Frederica gave him, and it opens a door that has that butterfly that's the same as Echidna's like hairpiece or whatever. So he goes in and he sees this huge crystal, and inside is like a little girl. It's Ryuzu pretty much, and as he's looking at it, Ryuzu, the one in the black cloak, and then the white cloak one comes in also, and then. They're able to go back to their house, and he's able to get all this information. So, what do you think about this part?
Like, I don't know, because in the beginning of it all, when they first came to the sanctuary, I've mentioned this before, that there's a lot of those pink-haired little girls, like a lot of them that I saw, and so it wasn't too surprising to me.
It's even in the opening too. There's a bunch of them in the opening.
Yeah, and so I don't know, it wasn't too surprising to me. But the story, I did think that they would kind of like do something bad to Subaru, just because, remember, like Ryuzu and Garfield, like the first time they were trying to capture Subaru. Yeah, it was like Ryuzu was part of it.
But that goes into another way of thinking now, because we find out that Garfield is also an apostle of greed, so he can control Ryuzu.
Wait, control?
Yeah. Well, let me go back to this first part. They're talking about it, and we find out that Echidna was the one responsible for creating all the Ryuzu, and it was solely just so she can have
stay immortal
and have infinite lives, pretty much. and it wasn't successful entirely, but her experiment still is ongoing, and there's more and more being made every day. And the Ryuzu in the Black Cloak, the one that's 400 years old, is one of the original 4, I think she said. Mm-hmm. And she's kind of just running everything now. And she explains to Subaru that he has control over all of them because he's an apostle of greed, is what she said. And that's when she asked, like, didn't you ingest something from her, like a hair or fingernail or something? Yeah. And he's like, oh, yeah, the liquid. And he's tea. Like, the tea. Yeah, the tea. The body fluid. Yeah. And then that's when she was like, you can, like, you have full control over everybody. Because it's just like him being a echidna. Like, she had control over everything, too. And then he said that means that, because Garfield knows about Ryuzu, that means he underwent the trial also. So
yeah, which we speculated before, actually, that scar on his face. Yeah. And that, before he did mention that if I could do it, then I would. So I feel like, we did say this before, that Garfield had tried the trial and possibly got injured, you know. But, I mean, the scar might not be related to the trial, but we already speculated that part, that he had already tried, but it failed. Yeah. So there's that. So
he and Subaru are kind of like brothers in that situation. Not like brothers, but you know what I mean. Like, they're
relatable.
Yeah, they're relatable. And he doesn't want Subaru doesn't want Garfield to know about it for now. And we just get more information about Ryuzu, how there's just so many of them, and the only way they can differentiate between each other is by habits or traits or personality, like you were about to say.
Their names.
And their names, yeah. And the one was called Bilma, right? The main one?
The Black Cloak.
Mm-hmm. And then that was pretty much everything that happened with them. And then it's on to the next day, and Subaru's heading out. We skipped over the part where he went back home and he talked to Otto and had like the little bro moment with each other. But
next.
I know. He's heading on, and he's on Beatrice, and he left a note for Amelia that he was leaving. And I think that was about it up until the confrontation with Garfield again. And that wasn't anything too crazy, right? It was just him, like, testing Garfield and making sure.
I want to know what he said to Garfield.
At the end? Did it skip over something?
What do you mean? It just didn't say... I mean, we saw the lips, but obviously there's no way we can read those lips. But it didn't tell us, or there's no voice when he said something to Garfield that made Garfield back up a little bit. And so that's...
He's like, you were just messing with me? That's what he said.
So I don't know if he revealed to him that he's another apostle of greed, or just something else.
I don't think so, because he kept going on and on about how he wants to learn about it, and he's going to find out all this stuff he doesn't know.
And he also said that he kind of warned Garfield that he knows that he's hiding something. It's just a matter of time before he figures out what it is, and that whatever he's doing, he's doing it for Emilia, and he's not going to hurt the sanctuary, because that's the main concern of Garfield. Is for, you know, he's just suspicious of Subaru. Like, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know your plans.
Yeah, especially because he has the witch's scent on him too.
Yeah,
that's why there's a lot of there's not a lot of trust there with him.
Yeah, but he already said that whatever, you know, like, whatever it is, I'm doing it for Emilia and not to hurt the sanctuary. And we all know that Emilia does not intend to. If anything, they're trying to save the sanctuary. They're not trying to hurt it.
They have the common goal, but it's just a roundabout way of saying that. Yeah. But, well, you know, he just Garfield just cares about the sanctuary, so he ends up letting him go, like, just go. And he makes it back to the mansion, and he just talks to Petra and Frederica for a little bit. And they agree to just leave the mansion while he...
Go to the village.
Yeah, go to the village. And
find shelter there.
While he has his conversation with Beatrice, the one we've been waiting for. So he finally goes into the room, and she's like, she's been expecting him. And he's like, it's for a different reason this time. And then he's like, she's talking about this long, really old contract that they had. And she says it's ironic that it's going to be with him. So we don't know.
She was mentioning, like, how this you know, like a long contract, and now it's like it's ending. And it's ironic how it's going to end with Subaru. And so I don't know what she meant by ending. Like she did mention like the end of this world, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, maybe he's fulfilling the contract, and then she'll be free, because she even mentioned that she'll be free.
And it almost sounds like the only thing that will free her is if the world ends, because that's how it sounds like to me based on her statement.
I thought he would be fulfilling some requirement in this contract, and it would be setting her free from staying in the library and protecting the library.
No, because look, hold on. Can we go back to that statement? Because that's what I noticed, even in the second time that we looked into it.
Okay.
Betty は今度こそ解放されるのよ。もっとも、その相手がお前になるのは、ベティにとっても皮肉すぎる結末かしら。
So she didn't. She said the end of the end, the ending of the end, or the end of the ending. But
I guess that's open for interpretation then, because we're not exactly sure what she's talking about, right? Because I can't think of anything specifically that she would.
Yeah, but the first thing, one of the first things I thought of when he finally saw Beatrice is that, why didn't he say, you know, Roswell said this, or what was it? The line
Roswell said to ask the question.
Yeah.
He probably will this next episode.
He might, but I thought that's the whole thing of, you know, seeing Beatrice is to go ahead and say those lines and get Beatrice to help you out.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure it's just their interaction starting out. But
yeah, I get it. Yeah, I get it, but it's
hopefully this next episode we'll get so much information. I'm so excited.
Next episode's gonna be one of the best.
It's gonna be one of the best this season. All right, but that was a review of episode 35, I think. Thank y'all for listening and watching. And anything else? That's it. Yeah, thank you guys. We'll see you next time.